Welcome to newspaper headlines and analysis. Today, Thursday, the 5th day of May 2022. Thursday, 05/05/2022. Today, we shall experiment with an innovation of a sort. The introductory piece, the article, is a bit much today, and many of our subscribers don't quite have the time to read much. It is because of that reason that today we shall be transcribing the piece or the article, the introductory piece or article, to audio so that people can also listen to the piece. The title is Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Dumped or Not. It is about time Asiwaju feared reenacting the curse of Bashorunga. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, dumped or not. It is about time Asiwaju feared reenacting the curse of Bashorunga. Reads the body of the piece.
Yesterday evening I started getting messages and calls on the rumor of the defenestration or tossing out of the window of Rumour-Olu as the presumptive governorship candidate of APC in Lagos State. I kept reassuring myself, just like I did for weeks when the whispers of his reanointment was rife, until an official Governors Advisory Council's that self-appointed extra-constitutional personal Privy Council-like body cloaked in Quango-like status, which is mainly peopled by his gerontocratic political hangers-on and ex-Pataki-Inians/has-beens, many of whom are paradoxically, often in their confidential remarks, disillusioned with his seeming overreaching politics, but are yet servile to him to keep getting the huge monthly allowances and the contracts accompanying the ceremonial position statement validating the speculation was officially issued. Also, because my intellectual persona was birthed and groomed in the eclectic environment that mushing of the 1960s, 70s and 80s was, and one ultimately flowed in adulthood into the endemic skepticism that journalism nurtures in its adherents, I don't usually warm up to believing rumors. Indeed, I reminded myself that, albeit Rumour-Olu had, given all the feelers reaching me since his assumption of office 3 years ago, cleanly and meticulously avoided getting involved in the politics of re-election. It's often said then that it was because he'd agreed to a one-term agreement, but when the so-called Lagos PDP letter notifying him of their readiness to adopt him as their candidate should the hegemon not re-anoint him, I suspected a game of triangulation that could only be orchestrated from his camp to stampede the essentially, the oracle himself, through his mouthpiece, to speedily give certainty to his fluid gubernatorial future. So, when officially pronounced his re-anointment, I was confident that none of the characters in that Quango would have the temerity to make such affirmation, without the express validation of Baudelaire. The truth, at this juncture in the subservient politics of Lagos, I've always said that, since Fashola chickened out of wielding the circumstantially sharpened knife in 2010-11, and given the futility of the grumble and do-nothing disposition of the Lagos Aborigines, and the it could be me to be anointed next or get the big contract lottery mentality of the elite in Lagos, is that Asiwaju is somewhat invincible politically. But so was the infamous Bashorunga, after he'd liquidated 4 Alafins and the one, Alafin Abiodun, in whose submissively docile reign the very rich hegemon, out of his insatiable greed, was said to have contracted a Babalawo to do more money, making ritual for him, against the Babalawo's candid opinion that the overreach would trigger a calamity at the explosion of the wealth the ritual would generate. He, legend has it, got much more money, but his sprawling compound in which his omnipotent deities and supernatural powers were housed was burnt to smithereens, a vulnerable situation that led to his humiliating end. How does one advise a conceited champion fighter not to tempt fate with an overreaching spirit? Why create instability inside your house when you've called a match outside? Someone should tell Sanwo-Olu that until Hitler opened the Second War Front with the conceited launch of Operation Barbarossa against the Soviet Union in 1941, he had swathes of Western, every pun intended, Europe locked in his military sphere of influence. Anyway, one can only conclude this kind of literary admonition knowing the empirical truth inherent, the philosophical English dictum which states that all political lives must end in failure.
Having listened to the audio transcription of today's article, we'll start the front page of the newspapers with the Punch newspaper. Multiple candidates threaten Southern presidency. Leaders won 24 aspirants. 12 years after Jonathan says Yar'Adua's type hard to find. 12 years after Jonathan says Yar'Adua's type hard to find. After spending over $8 billion on Ajaokuta, Nigeria imports 837 billion naira steel. 26-year-old lady found dead in Ebonyi hotel room. Son folds withdrawal letter in APC nomination form. The Vanguard newspaper reads, the front page of the Vanguard newspaper reads, 2023, high number of aspirants good for democracy. Tinubu. Sex with dogs. Police launch manhunt for dog owners. Ladies who sex with pets for cash. Our leaders no longer bother about ASU strike, but 2023 election stands. 2023, I joined Abia Guba race to rescue decaying infrastructure, LSOT. Police arrest hit and run Lebanese driver in Lagos. Kaduna can do without federal government's monthly allocation if resources are properly annexed. Lady 20 dies after encounter with strange men for 50,000 naira in Ebonyi. Judiciary told to create special court for speedy prosecution of GBV cases. Grievous bodily. I wouldn't know the meaning of GBV. Just speculating. Federal government, Lagos to earn $201 billion from Lekki Port in 45 years. Lai Mohammed. High number of aspirants good for democracy. Tinubu. Insecurity. Match your words with action. Afenifere tells Buhari. After local content drive key to deepen sustainable growth in Africa, Wabote. Anger as please confirm death of gang raped lady in Ebonyi. Buhari's visit. Withdraw your seat at home order. Mbazulike Beck's armed group. The front page of the Guardian newspaper reads, suspense as APC orders aspirants to sign withdrawal letter. Move to ban Russian oil threatens Nigeria's fiscal stability. Should ordinarily be an opportunity for Nigeria if our house were to be in order, but epiphanies itself has debilitated the architecture of our oil resource. 2023, thousands of women storm Akure streets in mega rally for Yaya Bello. Man City have to accept madness of football Gojiola. Sports Ministry AFN moved to stop US-based athletes from burning out. The front page of the Daily Trust reads, today's Daily Trust reads, Kaduna El-Rufai anoints Ubasani, drops Datijo authors. 200 Nigerian farmers jet to Israel, Morocco for training. Ukraine crisis, Russian billionaires flee country to Dubai to avoid sanctions. US surpasses 1 million COVID-19 deaths. Drama as Lagos senator seeking Ogun seat whips before constituents. Drama as Lagos senator seeking Ogun seat whips before constituents. Lebanese driving against traffic in Lagos crushes woman. And you are in Rome, you do as the Romans. If illegality defines being Roman, you go about too, not justifying his criminality, and the full weight of the law should be visited upon him. But you know what? He must have been doing it before, and he must have gotten away with it, putting some little change in some uniformed boys' pockets. After local content drive key to deepening sustainable growth in Africa, says Wabote. Kaduna El-Rufai anoints Sani, urges Datijo to pick Senate form. Students in Edo protest ASU strike, ask federal government to intervene. Kebbi lawmaker says Malami will resign before APC primaries. Moji Kalu's kinsmen raised 200 million for Lawan, ex-governor's presidential nomination forms. House waits into arrest detention of Dagogo on Wike's order. Abiodun pushing the boundaries. Ekiti APC leaders attacked for endorsing lawmakers' second term bill. And lastly, for today, the Nigerian Tribune. The front page of the Nigerian Tribune reads, how 22 states in Nigeria face the risk of malnutrition, food shortage. 5G deployment accelerated as issues final letters of. Please arraign pastor for charging members 310,000 naira to be taken to heaven. 2023 UN demands full women youth participation. Reps to Buhari save Nigeria from precarious security. And lastly, 2023 APC extends sale of forms. PDP postpones LG congresses. That is content for today. Until tomorrow, Friday. Thank you.